Welcome back to Any Given Sunday's West Coast edition. Yes, I'm back for more. I'm going to give you more updates. We got a lot to go through, but first I'm going to start with some breaking news, which the league has heard. Today we have seen two major teams exit out and two new teams come in under some crazy conditions. There's a lot of debate, a lot of things that happen, and we're not gonna get into all of that because today we focus about sports. But what you guys need to know is there are two newcomers in the league. Yes, that's right. Dennis and Pops have exit out of the AGS league, and you have two very pro people that have come in that many of us don't know. We'll get into it. The person who has taken over, Kira, is taking over what suggests to be Pops' team of a very, very good roster. And then on the other side, you have Anthony Drayton, who is taking over Dennis's team. So crazy events that's happened and unfolded. Again, not gonna go through all the details. We wish Pops and Dennis the best of luck in the future, and we welcome our newcomers today. We've got a lot to go through. Let's go through the scoring, at least of last week. We're gonna start with our first game. We had the Florida Thirst Traps. They went in, they played Slap Sauce. Florida Thirst Traps, Mari Cooper, Calvin Ridley came through with 14 and 19 points. However, it was Slap Sauce, came in hard. Deshaun Watson put up 36 points, which is super healthy. And Derrick Henry looked like the Derrick Henry of old. And that is exactly what I said needed to happen in order for Slap Sauce to win. So that one, I unfortunately picked wrong. But Slap Sauce ends up winning 133.5 to 89. So congratulations to Slap Sauce. Next game, we have Dom's team, My Wife Ruins Everything, going into the Daytona Daunting Ducks. Dom's team put up 99 points, almost 100-point performance. Big performances from Dalvin Cook and Andrews, the tight end from Baltimore, looks so good. Unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers only put up 14 points. On the other side, the Daytona Daunting Ducks, TJ Hawkinson led the way with 22 points. And then you had Le'Veon Bell, who looked like old, who came through putting up 20 points. Overall, they put up a $122, and they look like a very solid team in the making. And I picked Dom on this one, unfortunately, and I'm 0-2 so far on that one, so not a good look. The next game we have the McPoon Handling Goat Engines going into a slightly punty vibe, and this should have been the game of the week because this was just scoring points all over the place. It was McPoon, T.Y. Hilton putting up a shocking 24 points. Nobody saw that coming. Josh Jacobs putting 22.5 points. And you still have Matt Ryan, who still scored 22.5 points, which is really, really good. But on the other side, man, Anthony knows what he's doing. And he's a tough team. And you know what? A slightly punty vibe. I mean, 43 points from Dak Prescott, 27 from Hopkins, and 22 from Ingram. I mean, that's just disgusting. And then you keep going down his roster. I mean, he had scoring from every place. The next game, you had the meetup between the two father and son rivalry of Pops and Dennis. And really, Dennis came through putting up 131 points to Pops 116. Top performers is McCaffrey with 37 points. Keenan Allen put 22 points. And what a great pickup with the Jets defense. We'll see how the new owner comes in and see what they do, and that would be the new Anthony, or Anthony Jr., as many of the league would like to call him. We'll see what he does with this roster now going forward. But that was a great effort by Dennis last week. And Pops' team now taken over by Kira. Again, great roster. Wentz put 30 points, Mark Ingram 22, And then obviously whenever your kicker puts up 15 points, it sets you up for good. He put up 116, but it just wasn't enough. Now let's go into a new week. Let's talk about matchups. Let's see how things are going. I'm going to start off with the worst game and work my way to the best game and what I think is good. And then I'll give you probabilities and things like that according to ESPN today and keep you guys updated. First game. Oh wait, I forgot a game. Guys, you gotta be on top of me. Lastly was the game of the week, and that's probably why I'm trying to forget that last game, because it was just terrible. It was terrible on my part. Tampa's Empire put up 71 points. They left 75 points on the bench. And New York Powers put up a $145. Alvin Kamara did his thing, but after that it was very little of nothing. Empire left Mac on the bench, which, I mean, it was just terrible coaching. Figuring out a new roster, that should improve, not worried at all. But the Powers keep the streak alive. Eckler, 35 points, Mahomes, 33, Carson, 22. You just, whenever everybody shows up on the other side of the lineup, didn't matter if I actually coached 100% right, still would have lost. So congratulations to you, Jesus. I tried to slide past that one, but yeah, you know, I gotta be real. All right, so let's go into next week. Let's start with the worst game. I have the new owner, Kira, calling her team now Savage Gang, going into Tampa's Empire. Right now, probability is so close. ESPN is projecting Kira to win 55%. So this is a close game. It's only an 8-point spread as of today. You have some good guys. I mean, you have, on her side, you have Julio Jones against Philly. I really do like Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin put a game last week. I think he's going to still do that again. James Conner is going to be a little bit difficult against Seattle, I think. But I love Mark Ingram against that Arizona defense. And I think they could do great things there. On the other side, I do think, Alvin Kamara against the Rams. I mean, Kamara just looked, when they finally used him towards the second half of the game, started to pick up. He started to get a lot of points. I think they're gonna use him more, because when they didn't use him in the first half, they were kind of down. So I think they're gonna incorporate him much more earlier. I think Mike Evans and Brandon Cooks are gonna bounce back from that atrocious week last week. Mike Evans was actually sick last week, so he should get better from what most people are reporting. Brandon Cooks was targeted a lot. It just was, he got pass interference a lot. There were a lot of things that just got into the mix. The big question mark is Joe Mixon. Is Joe Mixon going to go or not? Which a lot of people are saying it's a 60-40 right now. Who knows? But either way, if Joe Mixon doesn't go, most likely what I'm going to go with is between John Ross and John Brown, who had a lion's share of targets. They were getting like 13, 14 targets apiece, and obviously they were the big waiver wire pickups. I obviously drafted John Brown. I knew that one was going to be a hit, but didn't see John Ross and got lucky to pick up Terry McLaurin, rookie out of Washington. So added some necessary depth in receiver and gives me flexibility. Me, I'm going with myself this round. I think I'm going to upset and actually pull a win. Next game we have, I'm going to go slightly punty vibe, 1-0, playing Dom's team. My wife ruins everything, 0-1. Right now, the projection is 61% in favor of Anthony, and I can see why. I truthfully thought that, Anthony was a cusper, and I was questioning the Dak Prescott. And again, I don't want to go into like too big of a week one debate, because it was only week one. But my man Dak Prescott looks so good. And again, he played the Giants, but guess who's he's playing this time? He's playing Washington. It's a little bit harder of a defense. Don't think he's gonna get 42 points, but I mean, I can't say he ain't gonna minimally get 20. I mean, I just can't do that. DJ looks so good for Arizona, but they're playing Baltimore, so I don't like that matchup. I do think, man, the Browns and Jets intrigues me, but I have a feeling that we're probably gonna see Odell only get like 10 points. I still love Hopkins. It's just going to be disgusting against that Jacksonville D. I love Ingram against Buffalo. On the other side, Lamar Jackson against Arizona. I think he's going to have a big game as well. I mean, it's Arizona defense. Dalvin Cook's still going to run all over Green Bay. Kupp is an intriguing one because I don't know if Kupp's really going to really be that guy. I know he's leaving Hardman in from Kansas City, and I get why he's doing that. So who knows? Maybe he's a 10-point guy. Maybe he's nothing. Who knows? But you go down. I mean, Nick Chubb against the Jets. Sony Michel, they didn't really use him. I mean, Patriots made it well known that they're going to pass. And Miami's defense looked terrible, so they're going to pass all over him. And then maybe run the game out at the end of the game, so maybe he'll get some trash points. I don't know, but I'm going to give this one to Anthony. I think he's going to win that one, so we'll go. I'm picking him. Next game, New York Powers versus the Thirst Traps. Man, the trade that they made created shock around and havoc across the world and pandemonium and panic, and it was over nothing, guys. Let's be real. It was over nothing. My man traded his number 2 waiver wire pick for futures, okay? He wasn't going to use it. And now, you know what? I'm not going to lie. I questioned the man. I was like, you know what is he doing? I will be honest. And he could vouch for me and he could text. I texted him. I said I would trade him the number 1 pick. I was trying to get Tom Brady from him. He was like, no. He respectfully was like, look, honestly, he didn't give me the right excuse at the time, and I don't blame him. You can give me whatever excuse you want to give me. But his rationale at the time on what he told me was he didn't believe in any of those waiver wire players, okay? You fast forward to today, he says, you know what, it's because of something else. I forgot what that reasoning was. And then finally we hear the truth that all it was over and why he didn't want to make those moves is my man had Adrian Peterson and Antonio Brown that he had to move from IR into his regular spot. And we all forgot about that, okay? So he traded that waiver wire and nobody else approached him for it. My man, Jesus, he picked up the line, called the phone and said, hey, I noticed this problem you have. I'm willing to fix it. So Jesus trades for it, but doesn't use it. So I don't know what's going on, guys. I'm so confused. Anyways, my man, he didn't use the waiver wire, so that trade's still in effect. So it's essentially Gabe can move up, but there was so much chaos around it. Anyways, long story short, it wouldn't have effing mattered, okay? The man couldn't even plug any of the guys he picked up into his lineup. So I don't understand why people are freaking out. I don't understand it. I'm sorry. I don't understand. All right. Anyways, to the matchup. I think, honestly, what's going to happen, I think, and by the way, ESPN's given a 66% favorability to the Powers, and they absolutely should, and I'm taking them on that. I'm taking the favorite here. I'm going to say that the Powers are going to win this one. Saquon Barkley looks so good. He's going to be even better against Buffalo. Patrick Mahomes against Oakland, I think he's still going to put up points. It's going to be a shootout between those two. Stephon Diggs, I think they're going to bounce back. I think Stephon Diggs is going to be fine. Kenny Golladay getting a lion's share of targets, not worried about him while he plays the Chargers. If T.Y. Hilton can do it, then I'm pretty darn sure Kenny Golladay could do that. Darren Waller, interesting pickup, but he did get a lot of targets, so that was a really, really smart pickup on Jesus by picking him up. And yeah, Chris Carson and Austin Eckler look good, and that Ravens defense is sick. On the other side, the Thirst Traps, they're going to put Brady in, which is a smart idea versus Miami, and I think they're going to get points. But you start looking down the road, and Leonard Fournette against Houston, I'm not confident in. I think Amari Cooper would be decent. I think he'll do good. Same with Calvin Ridley. But you look on the other side, I just think the other side's matchups are better. So, again, going to go with Jesus here. Next game, got Slap Sauce. Slap Sauce versus McPoon handling GOAT engines. And this one is razor thin margins. They're both projected right around the same amount. ESPN is giving the probability slightly to McPoon. For me, it's gonna be close because I look and I see Deshaun Watson against Jacksonville, and I'm like, that looks good. Derrick Henry against Indianapolis, man, I love that. I love that. Juju Smith-Schuster against Seattle, man. I mean, we just saw what Cincinnati John Ross did to them, so why couldn't Juju Smith-Schuster do better, you know? And then you have Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry I don't like, I'm going to be very honest, but I do like Travis Kelce. I do like Sammy Watkins. Duke Johnson, I'm like, eh. On the other side, you have Devontae Freeman. I love Michael Thomas, going to be great. Devontae Adams against Minnesota, I don't like because of the matchup, but I do like Josh Jacobs. I don't like Tennessee, T.Y. Hilton against Tennessee, so that's enough to swing me. I'm gonna go with the upset here, and I'm actually gonna pick Slap Sauce. And then game of the week, we have the Daytona Daunting Ducks playing the newcomer Colorado Drayton and Anthony. And this one is, I'll be honest, this one is really swayed towards the Colorado Drayton. They have a 56% probability, according to ESPN, to win this matchup. My prediction, this one is it's tough because I look at Colorado Drayton's roster, and they did win last week. But man, there's a lot of Rams on that team, and at some point, it's gonna get to you. Now they are playing New Orleans, but New Orleans D, man, I mean they didn't look as good against Houston. So I think they're gonna score the points, and I think they're gonna get it. I look at the other side, and I really do. I like Rich's team. Le'Veon Bell, I think he's gonna get the touches. I think Adam Thielen's gonna do great. Tyler Boyd, I mean, I think he's going to put up at least 10. TJ Hawkinson, I actually do believe in, and, I think he's going to be a staple tight end. But you got Christian McCaffrey against the Bucs, and I'm sorry. I mean, I'm a Bucs fan, and I'm going to tell you that Christian McCaffrey is going to light us up. So in this case, I actually, for the game of the week, got to take Colorado Drayton just because of McCaffrey and the firepower that they have on that team. And I think Hosea falls to 1-1, and Anthony goes 2-0. So those are my picks. Real quick, we have some shifting and jogging that I do want to announce, and what the projections are, and where the great thing about ESPN is they've now kind of given a little update on as far as where is your team's at and kind of where you sit in terms of your trends and your projections. And so they kind of do a complete projection for everyone and everybody's team. And I apologize because I think I probably lost that. And I think I did. Well, maybe we'll go over it next week, and I apologize because I did have it up, but I guess they took it. They take it off after week 1, which is quite interesting because it was actually a really cool thing that I was going to show you guys, but whatever. So I actually found it. This is an edited version. I just edited myself into the video, so if you see some blip or some transition, I found it, and we're gonna go through it because this is a cool feature that I like about ESPN. So I'm gonna go from bottom to top, and I'm gonna tell you where the teams fell. And this is all ESPN rankings, folks. Don't get mad at me. I did not pick this, okay? At number 10, my wife ruins everything, fell to number 10 according to ESPN. They're saying that the team slid back, and they're worried about them. From 9 to 10. At number 9, the Daytona Daunting Ducks. They were the second best team last week. Their power rankings, they fell all the way to 9 to ESPN. So ESPN is not favorable on the Daytona Daunting Ducks. Yikes. Number 8 is the Florida Thirst Traps. They actually moved from the 10th spot to the 8th spot despite the loss. I think the points look good and the projections look good, and maybe they're a little bit more wanting to bet on the Florida Thirst Traps. Number 7, Colorado, or excuse me, not number 7, Slightly Punty Vibe. So this is an interesting one. They moved Slightly Punty Vibe from 3 to 7. I don't agree with that at all, because a Slightly Punty Vibe put up the most points, yet ESPN feels that they're the 7th best team based on their projections, and they think that they're gonna trend down. So that's kind of an interesting pick. So we'll see if that actually makes sense or not. But I don't agree with that. Number 8, or number 6, excuse me. Number 6, we have Tampa's Empire. So I apparently moved from 8 to 6. Again, that's a little bit weird because I lost like pretty bad. You would think that Anthony would be higher than me, so I don't know what ESPN's thinking, but whatever. Number 5 stayed at number 5. That was Slap Sauce. Number 4, Savage Gang, the newcomer, stays at number 4. Number 3, Colorado Drake. They were at 7th according to ESPN and moved all the way up to 3. At 2, from 6 to 2, McPoon Handling Goat Engines, which we said were going to be a very strong team even though they lost. And number 1, and staying at number 1, the New York Powers. So there you have it. There is the final standing projections according to draft day versus current projections of these certain teams. You can criticize what you want right now, but that is according to ESPN, and I hope you enjoyed. Anyways, that's our show. I tried to keep it under 20 minutes, but we had a lot to go through. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.